I'm back. This is day 15, I believe, of Advent, and it's the day to light a love candle, but I'm going to do all that later. Right now, I want to take another day to talk about Abraham, and I'm going to share a little story with you. Uh, in fact, I think I'll tell part of this story right here. Okay, let me tell you again where to find my blog. Go to JackiKellum.com, and then at the top, you're going to see a menu that says Home, Blog, Jacki Kellum Art, Contact, all that. Today, if you go to Home, you're going to see my excerpts from my picture book, The Donkey Song, and not trying to plug my book. I'm trying actually not to do that. But the reason I'm doing these Advent design classes free is because I made a little promise to God that I would every Christmas do something free for people for Advent, give back. And this year I'm doing this design class, and every day I try to tell some story about the Bible, some biblical story, and then I'm trying to do a design that sort of relates to that. So if you want to get out of that page and go to my blog, which is really where all the action is, okay, actually I'm glad I came up to that. You're going to come up to this, you're going to see today I posted this, an overview and chronology of the great leader, Father Abraham. And I really need to make that part one, because this is just part one. And then yesterday's story was God blessed Abraham, the stars in God's world. And okay, well, I just clicked on that, and which I didn't really mean to, but today, what the project for today is to create a Jesse tree with the color scheme, with a kind of a different color scheme for me. I'm using these Super Tips Sharpies. Super Tip Crayola markers, but anyway, and it's a different color scheme, and I'm using, that's light brown. That is what I call gray blue, and that's what I'm calling. What did I call that? Let me see. Of course, I don't have it labeled. I call it dark blue, gray blue and dark blue. And that's a little story I'm going to tell you today. I am making the most diligent effort to try to identify all the different colors of Crayola markers, and it is just an overwhelming task. And I'm trying to make color schemes to go with the different colors, schemes that are different and unique. And there's a reason for all that. The smallest set of Super Tips, which I find to be a good coloring marker, is a set of 10. So I start with that. And then I told you a couple of days ago about the coloring the colors of the world markers to create skin tones. But there are other ways, and then those markers are over there, but I'm not going to go into all that right this minute. But what I'm trying to do is to understand, but the problem, Super Tips markers are great markers. They're great coloring markers, and it comes in the back of the box, labels, tells you what, but trying to figure out which color is which is just an insurmountable task. I mean, which one? And let me preface all this. It's a good lesson to learn. These are children's markers. These weren't made for someone like me to come in here and try to make hex codes and names. What I've discovered, and I have a lot of these Super Tips markers, different sets, the dye light changes. They change the colors of the caps and the shafts slightly. So what's one color in one set may not be exactly the same color in another set, and that bothers people like me who want it to be exact. But hey, these are child's markers. Let's not ask too much of these markers. So I'm going to tell you a little story, and it's going to relate to the story today about Abraham. I'm going to get to the punchline real fast so you won't wander around wondering what I'm doing with this. God changed Abraham's name. Abraham started out being called Abram, A-B-R-A-M. Abram lived in Mesopotamia, very close to at the bottom of the area between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, and in an area called Ur, I'm not sure I'm saying that correct, and it was a Chaldean nation at that time. The Chaldeans were basically pagans. They were essentially pagans. Abraham's father, all of his forefathers were pagans. And that was the biggest challenge that the Christian church and the other churches had, was trying to convince these people that they could be something beside pagan. And so a lot of confusion, a lot of stuff happened because of that. But right now we're going to talk about one thing that God did is he urged Abraham's father and Abram, to leave the Ur district and go to a different area. They were moving toward Canaan, and Canaan is the promised land. We're going to talk about Canaan over and over in the Bible. But they stopped at Hera, and I'm not quite sure what the name of that town is, but that's where Abraham's father originally grew up. They stayed there for a few years, and then they moved on to Canaan. When Canaan is the promised land for the Jewish people, Abraham is the great leader, the father of the Jewish nation. But what I tell you today in my post is that Abraham is also the father of a great leader. He's a great leader for the Muslim people, the Islamic religion, and also for the Christians. So today I talk about father of the multitude. So I want to tell you a little story that happened to me just 2 days ago, Friday. I went to a school to read my story, my picture book, and I got lost on the way. I get lost a lot. I'm not good with directions. And so I blew in there, and after the thing started. And so I didn't have time to, check out the crowd and howdy-doody everybody and see who was there and who wasn't. I didn't have a chance to make my list and who was naughty or nice. I just went in there, and it was time for me to hit the stage. So I started reading without checking out. And what I told the people before I even knew who was in the group, that my book, although people think it's a Christian book, it is about the birth of Jesus. My book was really intended to be a multicultural book, because the same people the same, the meaning of my book is looking for light, slaying the darkness, looking for the magic in life. And that's a multicultural message. But we can take that even farther. Jesus grew out of the same family tree that Abraham grew out of. Abraham's forefather was Noah. Noah's forefather was Adam and Eve through their son Seth. So Jesus, and so that tells you why we do Jesse trees, why I do a Jesse tree at Advent. In today's, we're going to draw a Jesse tree, and we're going to put stars in the sky. And I'm going to put a copy of this on my website if I ever get it there. But anyway, so that's, but anyway, after I read, it was question and answer time, and I noticed one of the little girls had a headdress that the Muslim women wear, a hijab, I think, what they call it. Let's see if I think I put it on here. This shows you this. Okay, this shows you where Abraham first came from, and then he moved up to there, and then later ended up in Canaan. But anyway, I looked around, and I saw that one of the little girls had, I think they call it a hijab. I'm not really sure. There are not many Muslim children. I'm going to be very honest, where I live. It's not a very multiculturally rich area, which I regret. But anyway, I was glad that before I even started telling that story, I said what I wrote 2 or 3 years ago, that my intention is for my book to be a multicultural message, because I think that the fundamental truth of this book is for all people. I think God, and through Jesus, we have the song, Jesus loves the little children, all the children of the world, red and yellow, black and white. They are precious in his sight. Jesus loves the little children of the world. Well, this is Love Sunday of Advent. And my challenge to all of you is to love all the children of the world.